How do you help your staff become high-performing service providers on their way to earning six-figure income? Hi, I am Kayla Swanson, and I'm your host of the Profitable Salon Owner Podcast. And on with me today is Danielle Cherewyk. What's up, Danielle? How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Kayla. It's awesome to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited for today's topic. Danielle is an owner of the Headroom Incorporated, as well as a academy owner of the One Beauty Academy. I had to make sure I had it right. One Beauty Academy that you opened just a couple years ago. And Danielle, tell me a little bit about yourself and your salon and how long you've been in the industry and all those fun things.
Yeah, thanks, Kayla. I have been in the industry. Well, I always say I started in the womb. I'm a second generation hairstylist of a very passionate hairstylist. My mom still works in my company. And I always knew I wanted to own. So I've been owning, I owned my first salon when I was 22. So I kind of got into the industry when I was 18, and it was very quick progression into salon ownership. And that has been 15 years. So don't do the math. I'm still, but yeah, so I've been owning a salon for 15 years.
Wow, that is so fun. And I love when you hear all different stories of why people became salon owners, and you saying, yeah, I always knew I wanted to own a salon, and just the journey that's been. I mean, Danielle, you've been in the academy for, man, how long have you been in the academy? A long time, many years.
5 years.
5 years, a long time in the academy. So Danielle is one of our mentors in the academy, and she's been doing she just released her 100K club. Is that what you call it? Your 100K club?
It started as a 100K club. We call it Peak now, so we can celebrate it publicly. We felt like a 100K club was do we really want to share with our clients a 100K club? So we changed the name. So it's Peak.
I love it. Okay, so it's called Peak now, which is really celebrating the staff on your team who have reached 100K and are earning $100,000 or more. And I love, we were talking before, I was like, is this a stylist thing? What is it? And she was saying that, you were saying, Danielle, that it's your whole staff, they all have an opportunity in their own way through their own position to be able to reach to enter into the Peak Club. So today we're going to be talking about that and what that can look like, and for you and your staff of how you can get your team on the same track, whether that you already have some people who've reached 100K or you don't, how you can encompass and turn your salon into a place where people can build their careers with you and be able to just get to that place that a lot of people don't even think is possible. So Danielle, I'm so excited. So talk to me about Peak Club, and how did it kind of start to incorporate into your salon? Where did it kind of originate?
Yeah, thanks, Kayla. I think that we were starting to see in the industry, a lot of people talk about that infamous six-figure stylist, 100K earner. And so for sure, I was I want to dive deeper into this and see where does our team stack up, or what opportunities do they have on that pathway? Because we were seeing it talked about a lot, especially from influencers with not a lot of background information. And so I knew that my team was also seeing that, and we needed to start having those conversations. And what I found is we had a lot of people who were on the way, but we knew that they were cusping, and a few bumps might derail them. And so we wondered, do they even know that they're on the way there, or do they not? And so what we did, and this was, we've been doing this for 4 years now. So it was 4 years ago, and it was probably about this time of the year. And we said hey, it's we're coming into the first half of the year. Where do you stack up on this year so far on did you know you're on the way? And if you hustled a little bit more, you probably would hit 100K. And my staff was no, I didn't really do the math. And some of them had, but they just hadn't really thought about it in that way, because that wasn't happening then. And so, and a few of them were taking time off, not opening up, or wondering do I drop down a day? What is the difference going to make? And so we were if you hustle, you'll hit this. And, what is that going to look like? And how can we support you to hit that? And so we're listen, if you hit, we gave them until the end of September, whatever that was prorated to hit a certain number. And if you hit that, we're going to take you on a retreat in November to really celebrate the year and talk about how we can use that momentum going into the first year. So they only had to qualify, 3/4 of the way there, 3/4 of the way into the year. So, still stacked up that way, that they would be on the way, and they could come on this exclusive retreat. And so, they were okay, let's do it. And it just changed the conversation in the salon, and it made it really fun for them.
Yeah, man, that's crazy because yeah, you give something for people to look forward to. You project out like, hey, if you know, even bringing somebody's awareness to what are they making, and they realize how close that they are to it. Because some people don't. They get to the end of the year, they're like, man, I only made that much, or they just don't realize how becoming aware of the numbers of where you're at alone will help boost your productivity. Of like, man, if I have a number to reach, or if I know I'm close, or if I know it's possible for me to make more, it's like, well, yeah, I'm making this much number, but if I project it out, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to hit it because of how things are going. You're reflecting backwards of the last year and being like, well, based off of the past, I don't think I'm going to make it. Instead of being like, okay, this is where I'm at. This is how many months I have left. And then be able to project forward, like, man, I can get there if I do X, Y, and Z, and be able to have that support from your leaders, from your salon owner, from you, to be able to show you how it's possible to get it there. And then coming alongside your staff and be able to support them to get there is such a cool thing. So you offered this retreat. How many people in your first year did you have qualify to go?
I think there was 6 of us.
Wow.
7. 6
Wow.
or 7.
And you just got back from your one this year. How many people qualified this year?
So we had 14 qualifiers and 12
Wow.
people joined for it.
Wow, that is so cool to be able to see if like, yeah, even 4 years ago, 6 people qualified and be able to having something that people can jump on board with and be like, here, this is a path to get you to a desired outcome that you want. And I love how it's optional. It's like, you don't have to be on it, but if you want to push for it and you want to be a part of this and the group part of it, where you have 14 people who are in on it together and are wanting to, or 12 people who are like, yeah, I'm on as a group, we're moving towards something, we're celebrating each other together, which I think is really cool. So you had this, you gave them a retreat to earn for, and then what happened? How did you help them get to that 75% that you were talking about?
Well, just a lot of things, just like a lot of nurturing, like what is the expectation and how can we really support and show up for them? Um, maybe it was breaking down goals. Maybe it was adjusting their schedule or just anything like that to really, let them get there. And so
Yeah.
we just came along and like that. And then opening up the possibility. It's so interesting, what we think we're capable of. And I think our job as salon owners is to really expand their vision of what they even think they're capable of and unleash that potential in them. And so even just bringing that awareness, like you said, like it just was that awareness that they were like, whoa, I can do this. And,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just like, what if, like, what has been your top day in the salon? What would happen if you had more of those top days? Like, this is what it would add up to. And they're like, oh geez, I just never thought about it like that. And I have an analytical mind like that. And sometimes I forget that not everybody just like breaks down those numbers in that way. And so I'm like, okay, how can I break that down for them?
Wow, that's so cool. So you came in and be like, yeah, where are you at? And helping them just understand their numbers in a different way, because not everybody is analytical like that or even thinks to look at their numbers in that way. And so you kind of came in like, okay, like, yeah, what is your best day that you've had and what happened that day? And how can you create more days like that? And then shift your schedule around. And I love how flexible it is. It's like, this is possible for you, but if you don't want it or if it doesn't fit your time, like being able to come alongside people in their own lives, you're like, yeah, I know I really want that, but I have all these things going on. But even just showing that like, yeah, and you do have a lot of things going on and you will probably continue to have a lot of things going on, but you are like, we're in control of what we put our time into. We all have the same number of hours in a day. We all have the same amount of time to accomplish something, but sometimes we see something like, well, they can do it because, they don't have kids and I have a kid, or they, you start to justify why you can't because you are just stuck in that spot if you don't think it's possible. But being able to open the minds of your service providers and your staff to see that like it is possible if you just think about it in this way, or if you move towards this, or like start with a week. Yeah, you have a goal like next week, why don't you try these 2 things or these 3 things? And once you start to have those progressions and those things and those successes, and we always say, celebrate all wins, and celebrating the wins that you're having, you start to see them compound on each other and be like, oh, wow, this is possible if I just have my mind focused on what is possible, which is really cool. So did you have them like as a group? Did you have them like, was it more one-on-one individual? Did you like, were they all together? How did you kind of handle the fact that there was like at the beginning 6 people, now 14? How do you handle that?
Yeah, it's for sure as a group, and they start to nurture each other and show pathways. And, a lot of times, like you said, like there can be a lot of resistance and a lot of things. And sometimes in our lives, we hit this level and we start to surpass people in our lives who we have deemed to be successful. Our parents are a great example of this. And when we hit the same level of success as our parents, which we should earlier than our parents did because of inflation, we start to self-sabotage or limit us. And what I found around that 100K club is a lot of my stylists were starting to have that happen. They were hitting the same level of success as their parents. And then they were wanting to cut back because they didn't really know, like the next level seemed mysterious. It was unknown. It was out of their comfort zone. It was not that place. And something that we do on this trip is really talk about how it's very important to surpass the generations before us because of inflation and because it's going to cost, like, you can't just hit the same levels that your parents did and then survive. Who knows what it's going to cost to retire in, 2050. Like, makes me throw up a little bit in my mouth. But like, can't have those conversations with them. And so we're just, that group is starting to change the narrative. They're changing the narrative in the back room. They're coaching themselves, but we do have some group coaching. And then we do one-on-one PDMs too, to take that a little bit deeper, a little bit more customized.
Yeah, man, I love what you said. And I hope if you're listening to this, you hear that like sometimes people's perception of what's possible in their own lives is very limited. And maybe you as a salon owner in your own perception and you are stuck at a certain number because you have those same thoughts in your mind of like, well, I can't be more successful than my parents, or I can't be more successful than my sibling, or whatever it is for you. If you're having those own head trashes, it's such an important part of being able to move past them, is realize that you do deserve to have more success and to keep moving and keep raising that profit and keep earning an income and keep elevating yourself. And I think the little voices in our head start to come in and say like, oh, you don't deserve it, or, oh, like, yeah, you reached this, that's good. Now you can just stabilize and you got your business. And we don't realize that it's okay to dream bigger. Like once we reach our goals, for a lot of us, I know that I don't mean to encompass me in there, but a lot of people we talk to have like, yeah, I just wanted to be a salon owner. And now I'm a salon owner and I'm like, I don't really know what my goal is after this. I am one now and I'm just kind of going through the motions. But it's okay to dream really, really big and to look for ways to become that better version of yourself. And it's going to start with you as a salon owner. If you were thinking about having a 6-figure earner club or peak or whatever you want to call it in your salon, it does kind of start with you. And what is your mindset around how much money you can make? Our mission for High Performance Salon Academy is to elevate the world's perception of the beauty industry, because you're already up against people thinking that if you are a hairstylist or if you are a masseuse or, an esthetician, that you can't make an income. You can't make good money doing that. And you can. And it's very possible. We have many people in our academy, salon owners whose team members have currently and sort of surpassed making a 6-figure income. And so even having helping, I love, Danielle, what you were saying about helping your team see past their limiting beliefs that's holding them back from what's possible, and spearheading that as the owner of your salon. I know you have a leadership team too. It comes alongside your team to be able to be like, no, it is possible. And let's get to those numbers, and talking about, breaking down those little voices and being able to accomplish it, which is what you were saying is a huge part and component of it, is helping them see that it is possible to surpass their parents or their family or what people said that they weren't going to be able to achieve. It's like, how do I tell people, yeah, I'm successful in it? I love that a lot. I wanted to talk too also, because I know a lot of people are really weird about talking about how much money they make. And I know that you said you went from 100K club to the peak, because it's I want to share publicly and get them comfortable with that. Mm-hmm. How do you, as a group of people in this program together, how have you navigated conversations about being open about what they earn?
Ready to transform your business and improve your salon's profitability? With Lonza's 3-in-1 technology and intermixable shades, your hair color inventory is streamlined with limitless creativity behind the chair. Click the link below to unveil the secret to salon success.
Yeah, that's for sure something that we don't want to share on there publicly. And, when we have the peak retreat, one of the things that we do is we try and encompass a lot of personal and professional development together. And that's a conversation that we have to have, because we're our team members are having really weird interactions around money and their career. And I think our industry unfortunately sees that a lot. And they talk about that and how they deal with it. So for example, we kind of shared what do you tell people when people ask if you're a peak performer? They are like, oh yeah, they think I just do haircuts. And I'm like, I don't yes, but and some of them don't. They're like, no, I do color and extensions. How people see it, they don't really get it. And so, we had somebody who, took their check to the bank, and the bank was like, you must be a really good hairdresser. And she was like, thank you, I am. Instead of being offended, and how do they start to deal with those and navigate those? And, we have a lot of moms, and it's if you're out earning your spouse, who's the one that takes time off when the kids are sick? And like, it kind of changes some dynamics. And you're right. Like having those conversations around money publicly is for sure probably not something that we do so much. We want people to know that, you have that pathway. And so we hint at it in different ways. We call it peak. We talk about high performance. We talk about different milestones and, showcase a stylist buying their first home or, and like one of my stylists just bought her first home and it was like a $500,000 house. And like, that's a lot here. Like, I know that, we're in different markets all over the place. You're in California. So you're like, start crash on the beach.
That's the apartment down the street.
Yeah, totally. Or so, it's just like, are they, what kind of cars are they driving? What is their lifestyle? Like we're showcasing a lot of that.
Yeah.
But we talk on our team, like what are smart financial choices when you're earning at this level and not just like increasing your, disposable spending on purses and whatever else it is. We do have a lot of those conversations because they're not used to having that level. And so all the conversations, Kayla, and like we make it normal. One of the things that we do on the retreat is we actually tell everybody how much everything costs. And then we talk about the value of it because now they're starting to serve clients 5-star experiences, but some of them have never had 5-star experiences before. And so we knew that we had to give them those, but we would take them out for dinner. And then we would say like, okay, this is how much this dinner cost. Was the value there? And we would debrief it. And each experience, that's a whole part of the retreat. We always talk about the money and we talk about the value of those things and how can we take that back from the salon. So yeah, super, super interesting. And the debriefs of all of those experiences are just fire.
Wow. And so have you seen, you've been doing it for 4 years now and in the model of, quarter of the way or 3/4 of the way through the year, if you've reached the 30-quarter mark, you can go on these retreats. Like what has been the biggest impact that you've seen to your whole salon? You grew from 6 people on it to 14. What has been the biggest impact that you've seen in your salon in a full way because you started implementing this program?
Yeah. So this one really struck hard. We had team members that are like, I am hitting that. And it was funny because like I said, we debrief all of our experiences. We had a really cool thing happen on this last one. Like I said, we go on it's like all bougie experiences. So we went to a Nordic spa right on the ocean. It was like a floating Nordic spa. And so super cool. And so
that's so cool.
And hot tubs. And then there was a cold plunge. And like I said, some of my team have never experienced any of this. So I had 3 team members who went into this cold plunge and there was these 2 women in there. And I don't know, I know you're probably familiar with cold plunging because Jason talks about it a lot, but like, I would think that like a cold plunge at, it was 5 degrees, and the ocean is like 7. That's Celsius. I think for you guys, it's like around 30, 29.
Yeah. I don't know, because Fahrenheit and Celsius, I'm not good at doing the conversion rate for that.
Like freezing. Like it was freezing.
So it was cold. It was cold. Bottom line, it was really cold.
And so, most people go in and like their first, ice bath is like a minute, 3 minutes. So this was their first ice bath. And there was these 2 women in there who were like, oh yeah, ice baths are so good for you though. We do them every day. It changes your body composition. You just stay in and like feel it out. And my team didn't know what was standard. Guess how long they stayed in? Like you have to guess. It's crazy.
Oh man. I don't know. Now that you're making me guess, I don't know, like 6 minutes.
30.
They sat in the plunge for 30 minutes
30.
For their first time.
First time ever. And they were like, because these women told them that was normal. And so when we debriefed it, I said, like, how can you guys set a standard in our company where this lifestyle is normal?
Whoa.
And that came up. And now they're having those conversations. And we had a whole bunch of team members who were like, can I just pay to come? And I'm like, I'm sorry, you can't. It is an invite only. You can't. But I'm like, but if you're asking for the pathway, I'm going to give it to you. So we have launched we just called it mini peak for lack of, maybe come up with a better name for it, but it's now how to get on the way to there. And I said to them, like, this peak retreat has to stay like we are having conversations from like, okay, you're on track to hit 100K, but now how do you get to 200? So, and we've had people who have been in it for 4 years, like they're hitting it. So like they're talking about like how to get from 75 to 100 to 150 to 200. It's a different conversation from 25 to $30,000 to, 75 to 100. And so we are doing like a little one day in-house. We'll stay because we always travel for the big one, but for the little one, we'll do something in our local area, but we'll start to unpack all of those. And they're like, I need coaching to get to it next year. And they're like, I will see you there. Like, it's like a thing. So I know that was a long answer, but like the greatest thing that has happened is just that they're setting the new standard and they're setting it for the future of our industry, which is so beautiful.
Yeah. Man, I hope you guys are listening to this. You realize like how much you just starting the ball kind of rolling and just like getting more people on it and realizing the need of the people in your salon, because you don't have a salon if you're not pouring into your team, and if you don't have a salon if you don't have a team at all. But people are wanting to build their careers and they're wanting to make a better life for themselves, and a lot of us don't even know how to get there. I know for me too, it's like I wasn't raised on how to balance my checkbook, or not that we do that anymore, but like how to budget and save your money and be smart with your choices. It's like you grow up with no money and then you get a job and you have a lot of money and you splurge it and all those things, or you go the opposite direction, you don't spend any of it. And so realizing the need, Danielle, I love what I hear is like realizing the need that your team had and then pouring into them of like, this is what they don't know, and providing those experiences. And then the FOMO that kind of starts coming with it of like, when people want to be a part of that too, they start seeing it's possible, because a big snowball effect, and you're creating a culture in your salon where you are providing for people in terms of speaking to their careers, speaking to their life, helping them elevate themselves past a point that they saw possible, being higher performing service providers so that they can be six-figure earners. Is a huge thing, a huge accomplishment that people don't even maybe realize that is possible when they're going through school. They don't even know what could be possible. And I think there's a lot of salon owners out there who aren't necessarily doing that, aren't pouring into their team the way that they should be, in terms of like, I just want to make more money, and they're like, sell more retail and make more money. And they're going to an approach of like, this is your job, get your job done, rather than be like, hey, how can I motivate you internally? We talk a lot about external motivation versus internal motivation. And how can I motivate you internally that you want this too? Because obviously, if they're six-figure earners, that's going to grow you as well. But you choosing, like, it's more about me helping you to grow and then pouring my heart and soul into that. And that's the work I'm doing. And then it will naturally elevate your profit as well. But that's not what your focal point is. Your focal point is, how can I serve these people who work in my salon and help them, be better service providers and be able to raise their prices and level up to then they can like charge more and be a more esteemed, service provider, so they can make the money they want to be making, which I think is so cool. And if you're a salon owner listening, and I hope this is maybe a love punch to you to turn your attention and turn your heart into focusing on your staff and coming alongside them and supporting them in their careers, because in supporting your team in their careers, it's going to by default support your career. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes we get so stuck on like, oh, we got to like do the business. We got to grow our business. We got to grow our business, instead of realizing that sometimes don't forget that you also need to grow your team and grow your team internally so they can be self-motivated to be able to achieve those things, which Danielle, I think is such a powerful thing, which has been really cool. So tell me about the support system that you have. So in doing this, like what people have you set in place to support everybody moving forward? Because I know you have your leadership team. So what does that kind of look like?
Yeah. And I think I'm pretty sure we got this from Jason. Like, we want to have a 7-to-1 support ratio. So 1 mentor to every 7 team members. So, it started with me and my partners who they started as managers and mentors, and then came into as to shareholders. There's 3 of us, and we have another manager who helps with the operations. She's not a service provider, so she brings a really fresh perspective like that, and helps our support team a lot. And now we have grown. We have an additional 3 mentors who've gone through all of our mentor training, and they are, all a part of that group. They walk the walk and do all the things, talk the talk. So they're mentoring with monthly PDMs, and we like to have like some friendly games and different things like that, education, that kind of stuff. But just mostly, just connecting them on a personal level. And like, I think you nailed it when you said, like, $1 million salons are made up of 100K stylists. Like, if you want to have $1 million salon, you just need to grow your people. And I know somebody told me, like, if you want to be rich, like, just focus on the little things. You just focus on keeping money, not making money. Like, it's two different things. You have to focus on keeping it.
Mm.
And I remember I had an uncle that used to say, like, count your pennies and your dollars will count themselves. And I think about that with team members. Like, if you can just make your team members successful, your company will be successful as a byproduct of that. And then we don't have to ask salon owners go crazy trying to, worry about sell retail. It's just like, okay, what's going to make you successful? And the conversation just becomes a lot more fulfilling.
It's a different focal point. Like, you're focusing more on it's instead of a sprint, it's a marathon in terms of like you're propelling them into their future. And like, we always say, like, people will leave you when they no longer see a future with you. But if you pour into their future and you pour into what's coming next and keep them focused on like I can help you get there, why would they leave your salon? Like, it's the retention of the people, helping them be better. Like, they're gonna retain your guests, and it's when you can focus yourself as a salon owner on your team, it's a powerful move as a salon owner to be able to put the time and attention into them. I want to touch on, it's so crazy how fast the time goes when we're hanging out, but I want to talk about, like, in just kind of really running home the intention on building careers with your staff, because I know we're talking about like how to helping your staff build 6-figure income. It's like you're focusing on your career. So Danielle, I know this is such a passion for you to help your team build their careers. And so helping the people listening to be able to get into that mindset as well. Because it's one thing for us to tell you and be like, you need to do this and think this way. But how do you start to make, for whoever's listening, whether I do some team building or we go and, do a thing here and there, like, how do you start to just get your mindset around building a career for your team?
I mean, I think that we have to really look outside objectively and, not to plug. I know you didn't set me up. No, Kayla did not set me up to plug the academy, but like having a support person is really important, and, creating those pathways, especially if we don't already have them, because we need to start seeing, and our team needs to start seeing that it's possible, because they don't, and like, I've given my team no reason to distrust me, I don't think, but just the byproduct that I'm the owner and the boss sometimes creates like, I gotta watch out. Like, does she really have good intentions for me? And rightfully so. There's a lot of crappy business owners in the world. So I get it. They need to see that it's possible. So if there's not already somebody doing it on the team, and maybe it's you, and that's great. Then you just need to break that down. But they need to know that it's possible. You need to be those women who are in the spa that show them, like, they were like, okay, you just breathe. It's going to hurt for 5 minutes and then your body's going to be numb. I was like, yeah. Like, when I went over there and they had been in there, I was like, you've been in here, pardon, for how long? And listen to these women coaching them through. But the one thing that they did is they told them, I usually spend 30 minutes. I like to hit like a solid 30 minutes. So that was their goal. They were like, okay, and here's how I do it. And they broke it down, and they're like, okay, for this part, it's going to feel like this. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, it did feel like that. Okay, so she's right. And then for the next part, it's going to go through like this. So creating those pathways. And if you don't, like I said, if you're not already hitting them, you need to be with a group that is hitting them so that they can show you that and also show your team that. Because when we don't believe that it's possible, and like, it's not just believing that it's possible. Like, there are some strategies, and like, you have so many podcasts, Kayla, like you know that we have a lot of retail strategies. We have a lot of sales strategies. Like, my team has some killer KPIs. They're killing it. And that didn't just come from nowhere. So there is coaching on the KPIs, and there are pathways. It's not all mindset, but it starts with mindset and that willingness to go that level.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the analogy of the ice bath. And yeah, it's shocking. And I remember when I did my very first ice bath, which I highly recommend, but do it with a coach, don't do it wrong, because there is a wrong way to do them. But yeah, when you're led through, like, this is what you can expect. Like, when Jason led me through my first one, and he told me what I can expect. And at this point, and at like 30 seconds, you're going to feel this, and this is going to happen. It's like you having somebody just even supporting, like, you're doing the work and you're doing the things. I want you to really catch that. It's like, I was in the ice bath. I was doing the work to get myself through it. I had to calm my body down. I had to breathe through it. I was doing the work, but he was helping lead the way and be like, you're okay. That reassurance, that like confidence boost of like, you're getting through it. You're doing great. You're doing so good. Do you want to stay longer? Do you want to like, just having that open conversation to be able to lead me through it. And it comes a time when you're just like, man, I could like sit in here forever. Like your body just acclimates to the situation. And then it's almost like it's easy. And now when I do my ice bath, I mean, there's still that jolt when you first get in, but it's like, oh yeah, this is more getting easier and easier because I'm telling my body like this is something that can happen. And I can accomplish this. Now that they've been in there for 30 minutes, I mean, like I've done it before, I can do it again. And being able to create that for your team where they can be led. And if you as a salon owner, you don't know, you're like, well, I can't lead my team that way. Then look for that support. When you're like, I don't know how to grow my salon, then maybe in growing your salon, it's looking for somebody who can come in and help you lead your team well. Because as we talked about earlier, like without your team, yeah, you want to reach $1 million in your salon, you got to have 6-figure earners. You got to have your team, you can have 100 staff all doing really little, or you can pour into, I mean, that's fine too, but having, or you can pour into intentionally to your people. And then what if all 100 of those people are all 6-figure earners because being intentional with your team. And I love, it's hard not to plug the academy when the community that we have within the academy, that's the kind of conversations we have on a literal daily basis. All our daily calls is talking about like, how do we learn from each other, from the mistakes that we've made, or from the, the way that we've grown, or like, the ideas that we've had of like, having a program called The Peak where you can just motivate your stylists internally or your service providers internally to be able to make that 6 figures. It's powerful. It's powerful when you know that it's possible. Be like I always, when I'm going to do like a scary thing, like jump off a 60-foot rock. Like I just have to see somebody do it. And I'm like, okay, well, if they didn't die, I've got this. And like, I have a hard time being the first one, but I will be the second. I'm like, okay, well, they survived it. I can survive it too. If that person can do it, I got it too. And it's funny how that is the thing. You need that confirmation that somebody has gone before you and accomplished it. And then that mixed with like letting go of your little voices of like, well, I don't deserve it, or my family was never that successful. It's like, you want, like it is, we are supposed to be more successful than our parents. And then our children or generations below us can be more successful than us. I mean, as the world continues to change, it is an evolution of that. So very powerful. This has been such an amazing conversation. I hope you got a lot out of it. If you want support on building your 6-figure earner program in your salon, there will be a number in the description. You can text us support, text us whatever you want, but there'll be a number that you can text. You are always welcome to reach out to us anytime. We'd love to share our community with you and get you plugged into people who can support you and lead you that way. So before we close out, Danielle, do you have any last minute golden nuggets to send our audience away with as they continue their drive to work or whatever they're doing?
Yeah. Thanks, Kayla. I mean, I think it just is so freeing as an owner. If you're an owner that's listening to this, to let your team, give them that opportunity to be successful, and your success will be the byproduct of theirs. It makes our job so much more fun. And like Kayla said, like we would love to help you if you need support with that. We just want to be a part of that journey. It's fun for us too. So I would say reach out, stay connected. I would love to connect with you too.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Danielle, for hanging out with me today. I love having you on the podcast. You're welcome back anytime. And we'll catch you next time on the Profitable Salon Owner Podcast. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the Profitable Salon Owner Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave us a review, and check us out at profitablesalon.com for more episodes, content, and to help you turn your salon into the business you've always dreamt of.